us tonight. So just to give you a little heads up, Ben Kolodny spoke at the march in June on Mormon Avenue. The march against Sharia law and in honor of those people that lost their lives. So we want to recognize his mission. He spoke to us that day, and a lot of us were very enamored with what he had to say and the work that he is doing. He is a liberty activist, and his fields are working in education, higher education, free speech, and individual rights on and off campus. So I think he has a good message for us tonight. He owns a website called libertyfuture.com, and he's also associated with Prager University. So let's give Ben Kolodny a big welcome.
Thank you so much all for being here and listening to me babble for 15 to 20 minutes. If you have any questions afterwards, please, I'll happily take any of them. But to start, a little history. September 14, 1962, the free speech movement started at UC Berkeley. Think of that. Students were furious at the fact they couldn't be politically active, that they couldn't talk, that they couldn't go out and say, hey, this government program's wrong, or that policy is wrong. And they were shut down for the simple fact that they were college kids. Berkeley, 2015. Groups like Anti-Fascist Action and By Any Means Necessary teamed up with students at the university to sack it. They hit and pepper sprayed people they disagreed with. They shut down Milo Yiannopoulos. They shut down Ann Coulter. They shut down Ben Shapiro. And they're continuing to hold this campus hostage. Yale, 1975, 13 years after the free speech movement started, the Woodward Report was published. Now, the Woodward Report is the fundamental, bedrock, gold standard defense of why we need freedom in education. It labels colleges as places where you need to be able to speak the unspeakable and think the unthinkable. In 2015, 2 professors were fired for being racist. Now, what was their crime? Certainly they were stampeding Nazi uniforms all around, right? No. They said that their students had the right to wear even offensive Halloween costumes in Halloween. And for that, they were run off. There's a problem on our college campuses. There's a problem on our higher education institutions. And we've all heard of it. You know, you see a clip on Tucker Carlson, where you read something from campus reform. We all know that it's going on, but we don't know what's happening. And so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try and fill you in on that. But before I do, who am I? Why should you care about anything I have to say, and how do I know what I'm talking about? My name is Ben Kolodny. As Carolyn was so nice to say, I am the owner of Liberty's Future, a website which is dedicated to spreading this message to everyone and anyone who will listen. I'm also the National Director of the Prager Force Video Production Committee. We are Dennis Prager's PragerU's student arm. And we're fighting for conservative and libertarian students where they are most likely to be, the internet. We produce articles, we produce videos, all to help them fight the fight on their campuses and off. But what is happening on our college campuses? How would I describe it? Well, if I was asked, I'd say it's a 2-pronged assault by progressives on our college institutions for the sole purpose of indoctrinating future leaders, future professionals, future doctors, future lawyers. They're all being taught what I can only call nonsense. I mean, these people are being taught that America is evil, and that if you are a black person, or if you're a minority of any kind, whether that be gay, or transgender, or anything else, there is always a target on your back. And that if at any point in your life something bad happens to you, you can blame the system, you can blame the country, They're taught that capitalism is racist. That if you want to succeed, if you want to be rich, if you want to move up the socioeconomic ladder, you better be white, or you're never going to succeed. You're never going to be happy. They're taught ridiculous things like gender is a spectrum. That you can be a man or a woman or something in between. You can be something other than man or other than woman. You can be neither. You cannot have a gender if you so choose. And I've been hearing really, really disturbing reports that people are starting to identify as other than, or other kin, other than human, literally. Our students are being taught that they can be absolutely anything they want to be as long as it's not successful or happy. It's funny, but it's not, because you see the indoctrination in their eyes and you know they have lost their entire lives to an education which will continuously make them miserable, that they paid $200,000 for, like Charlie Kirk was talking about. It's terrifying. I mean, here's some statistics for you. Karl Marx is the single most prescribed economist in our universities today. The Communist Manifesto is in the top 3 read books by colleges. This is an ideology which is responsible for more deaths in the 20th century than the Black Plague. More deaths in the 20th century than every single war combined into one. And it's being taught to our kids. And there are those of us who are trying to speak out. We're trying to say this is ridiculous. You can't really say this. You can't really believe this. And we're shut down. And we're told to go away, or ostracized, or even shut down by the administration. And how do they do this? How is this machine so effective at keeping out conservative and libertarian voices? Well, many ways. First of all, there are speech codes. Now, these are quite possibly the single most unconstitutional thing you have ever heard of in your entire life. They are lists of topics that are taboo. They are lists of things you can and cannot say. They are lists of things you can't do with your words. Some colleges just say, no, you can't offend someone. You cannot offend someone. Of colleges surveyed, 92% had some sort of speech code. 40% had really restrictive speech codes. Then there are what are called speech zones, areas where the student and the faculty are granted their fundamental, basic free speech rights, where they're allowed by the administration to be politically active, as long as, of course, they register 2 weeks in advance, they make sure they're not saying anything offensive, and they sign up for it. Oh, and they might need to get insurance, or security, or any number of financially unbearable things to express their rights. Now, this wouldn't be so terrible if these speech zones were reasonably placed. I mean, they're unconstitutional on their face, but if they're in the middle of nowhere, on college institution, and they're 1% of the entire college's area, it's very clear that the purpose is to keep us quiet, not to help the students. And if you leave one of these speech zones, or if you violate one of these speech codes, you can be suspended, you can be written up, or you can even be expelled. Students were arrested not that long ago for leaving the speech zone and handing out pocket constitutions. The First Amendment right was the thing they got arrested over, while expressing their First Amendment right. And how has this happened? I mean, I wish there was like an easy answer, because everyone wants to say it's political correctness run amok. And that's certainly part of it. But what it is this cycle of liberalization and progressivization of our college campuses, and administrators which are too afraid to stand up for their students and stand up for their fellow faculty. So the only reason I can see that this is happening I just better explain it. In the 1990s, gender and ethnic studies became allowed as degree programs. You could go and spend $200,000 to be taught about feminism or social justice. And then, in 2005, the first PhD program came about, in which you could learn about social justice or feminism or anything like this. And so people would spend more money and more time getting an education in being victimized. And they would leave after 11 years of school, and they'd look around and they'd say, oh my God, there's no jobs. Golly. These people would go and look around, and I swear to God, there's not a single job out there for a gender or an ethnic studies degree that is not in gender or ethnic studies teaching or administration. I went through 2,000 job postings through 3 different websites, Indeed.com, Glassdoor.com, and Monster Jobs, and I did not find a single one for an ethnic or gender studies major that was not in social justice teaching. And so what happens is these people go right back into the institutions they just left, creating a cycle in which yesterday's victims become today's teachers. And what's happened is our schools, our colleges have become the trade schools of the professional victim. People who say, I am victimized for my entire life. And what they do when they get into positions of power is teach our students this nonsense. And then the students get angry, and mobs form, which is exactly what happened at Evergreen State College. When a professor was ostracized, threatened, and kicked off campus for saying white students shouldn't be kicked off campus. And then they get more power, and they expand their fields, they expand their administrations, they expand their programs, and more social justice degrees and more PhDs in ethnic studies are entering back into the college to teach the same nonsense, to create the cycle all over again. And it is toxic and destructive, and it is costing not only hundreds of thousands of dollars to our students, but the hearts and minds and future happiness of these people. Because let me tell you, if you're told every day for 11 years you are a victim, you will never be happy. You will never be successful. And then I don't want you to get the feeling that this is all is lost, but I do want you to get how bad this is. I mean, conservatives and libertarians, I talked a little bit about some of those restrictions on speech. But let me tell you about some of the things that happen to conservative and libertarian students on campus. The University of Central Florida's diversity chair said it best when he said not 3 days ago that conservatives are not welcome on college campuses. I can think of no better way to illustrate this than a couple of examples from my own experience. A young woman I know, a strong President Trump supporter, Hispanic, legally here, was given so much hatred after the election. She was called a coconut, brown on the outside and white on the inside. She was called a race traitor for supporting a president that she agreed with. Then another young man, a good friend of mine actually, is a radical progressive in his own right. He's a Bernie Sanders supporter. And he gets hatred and hatred. He's compared to a Nazi. What for? Is he a Nazi? Of course not. Because he's my friend. Because he's willing to talk with me. Because we can have lunch together, stand up and walk away as friends after disagreeing. This man is called a race traitor. He's called a Nazi. He's slandered by his own community. And it gets even worse. A young pro-life activist I work with, very, very, very fervent pro-life young woman, received rape and death threats from college students after she posted about her views on Facebook. My own experience. I was threatened with physical violence by a high-ranking member of my college's Associated Students program for supporting Israel's right to exist. And when I brought these facts, when I talked about this to my school's administration, they of course instantly kicked the student off, right? No. But they said, after I sent in screenshots of this man threatening me, that there wasn't enough evidence. There was no proof. Even though I took the words from the page and sent them to our administration. But had I done it as a conservative, as a libertarian, as a liberty activist, I would have been arrested. I would be labeled a hate criminal. Things are bad. Things are really, really bad on college campuses. And I don't want you to think all is lost, because it's not. The heckler's veto, the right of mass students to come up and shout down other people. Oh, absolutely. I should probably about to get to that. North Carolina just passed a law making it illegal to shout down speakers. So So fortunately, there's a lot going on that is allowing us to take back our college campuses. There are groups like PragerU, which provide good content for conservative and libertarian activists and allow us to fight the fights with the tools we need. There are groups like Turning Point USA, which is out there tabling week after week on college campuses and explaining the ideals of freedom and capitalism and free markets to everyone who will listen. There are groups like Students for Liberty, which is an activism group that trains with huge success campus coordinators who go out and work hard to bring events and speakers to college campuses. The fight isn't lost. And if you want to get involved, here's my pitch. Everyone asks for money, and I'm not going to do that because I find that exhausting. But I am going to say, if you know a high school or college-age student who is conservative or is libertarian or is anything that is left or is to the right, send them to me. My email is ben@libertiesfuture.com. I will find them a program that they can get involved in. I will get them involved, and I will help them help us. Now, do I have time for questions?
I would ask the first question, what advice do you have for parents who are sending their students to colleges? And they want the best colleges for their students, for their children. But the best colleges are very liberal and they're very dangerous.
Well, my first piece of advice to that is search your school. On my website, and I'll post a link to the Facebook page, there are ways you can find out whether or not your school is, the school you're thinking about sending your child is, has speech codes or speech zones, or an instance in which a professor has talked about how racist America is, or something like that. Get them, search, do your research, and be sure that your child is not being sent away to be indoctrinated. Other than that, though, if you have a student, or if you are a former student, and you see your college going crazy, your alma mater going crazy, stop funding it. Do not send them a penny, and make sure they know that you will not give them a donation, you will not give them help, and you will reject all who asks for aid by them until they clean their stuff up. This is what's happening with Mizzou. They had a huge problem recently, and they have been brought to their knees by people saying, no, that's wrong, and we're not paying for it. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Sam?
Yes, so many of you know I'm also an assistant professor for internal medicine at the university, and Dr. Dusty Rigsby is back there.
Not paying any attention to you.
Yeah, well, he's the mayor of Loma Linda, and he and I did residency together. So I have to applaud Loma Linda University because I'm allowed to speak my mind, and I'm not politically correct. Because that's the way it is. But I don't necessarily talk politics, because when you present a case, you have to say a 37-year-old black gentleman with a history of HIV, blah, 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 blah. So I don't say gravitationally endowed either. I'll say that. Right. Now, I inform those of you who are here, Sean Flynn is here. He's a professor. I also implored Tom Ford, who's not here. I also implored Dr. Rigsby and others who have experience in the clinical environment to apply for at least adjunct professorship so you can speak. They want you. If you can provide a service, they want you, but present yourself with integrity, so you can also influence not just the information you present, but also others. So right now I'm in the process of being an associate professor over at ECR because it's a youth program. So I implore those of you who are a little bit older than me, a little bit older than 40 years old, please apply for adjunct professorship in your realm.
Absolutely. If you can get into college and teach the truth, then please, by all means, do. Any other questions?
You've been on a lot of college campuses, probably been on a college campus as a student more recently than I have.
Yes.
How are they so successful in selling a used and failed ideology and running down the country? When I went to college, I were a little bit different. If I knew what I believed or why I believed it. How are they so successful now in moving the students?
A massive rebranding effort, to put it shortly. Marxism uses class structure as the most important thing. Either you're lower class, you're middle class, you're rich, and you're oppressive. If you're in the lowest class, you're the most oppressed and most noble. Now, what we do is we look at skin color as opposed to bank account content. We look at whether or not you're gay, whether or not you're Muslim, and we say, oh, okay, you are the most oppressed person here, then you have the most value. So this is cultural Marxism in a way. It's Marxism of skin color that is so shallow, and it sells to people because people are disenchanted. I mean, students, they want to be revolutionaries, they want to go and march and make a difference, and they hear, oh my God, every bad decision I've ever made is because of the patriarchy, or it's because of white supremacy, or it's because of whatever, so every terrible thing that's ever happened to me isn't my fault. That's a very appealing message to people, especially young people. Well, thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
I do. I have a lot of cards with me. If you're interested in hearing more about me or what I'm doing or watching any videos I make, come on up to me. I have hundreds of them. I'll be right over there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for what you're doing. If we don't do our job with the next generation, it's all over. I truly believe that. So we have to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening.
Enjoy. You want to come on up?